I'm an idiot.
It's showtime!
I don't deserve
Good
these powers.
morning, everybody. Akasan here, Red Reddit Nation. You guys ready for Shazam? The mask is still on because of allergies, actually, but everybody's still wearing a mask, and it might rain. So yeah, thank you, wizards or whatever. To be honest, I completely forgot that Shazam was coming out actually on time in Japan. So John Wick's going to be coming out in September, believe it or not. Creed's coming out in May. So I just straight up assumed that Shazam was going to get delayed or whatever. But anyways, no need to worry though. Plenty of tickets available. There is no rush here. So I'm going to be meeting up with DC Sun and Chris to watch this movie. But hey, Demon Slayer is doing great right now. To be honest, I don't know. Like, look, Shazam, the first Shazam movie was not a banger when it was in theaters, so whatever. So this one will probably be par to the course of in terms of whatever. Even the executive seats were not were still available. So I don't know. It'll be fine. I don't know what else I can say, really. Counting down the time for the end of the DCEU, right? That's basically it. Is that how this is going? Only to be revived in the DCU? Because everybody wanted that? I don't know. I don't have my contacts either, so I'm wearing glasses today. First thing in the morning, first showing in the morning. There's only actually two showings for Shazam out here. Today at 9:50 and later today at 4 o'clock. The biggest thing that it's going up against is, I guess, Demon Slayer and Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots also debuts today, so yeah, it is what it is. All right, there goes DC Sun. See, there he is. Yeah, there he is. Anyways, we'll see you soon. Later.
Introducing the star of our show! His name is Shazam! Now,
All right, guys, what's going on? I am back here in the studio. What the hell? Test. All right, there we go. All right, test. Okay. All right, guys, I am back here in the studio. DC Sun had to bounce to go take care of some, he had a meeting or something that he needed to do in Harajuku, and I decided to come back here and finish some of my real life work and prepare for domination. Now, it's interesting here with Shazam. I think he liked it. Just to let you know what he thought. He liked it. He was a little confused, like, in terms of, why. And I think this stands the same for me as well in terms of, like, previously we've heard James Gunn sort of say that Shazam has kind of been its own thing and it's kind of stood on its own and very separate from the DCEU, right? But this movie actually takes it even a step further and makes it feel even more inclusive as part of the DCEU. Just albeit by a few cameos and, nothing else in terms of like an overall arcing story or something like that, but it is kind of interesting about that. And I won't spoil things, but if you know, they were already kind of promoting it very much like the Henry Cavill cameo situation in Shazam, in Black Adam. There is someone else who actually had more of a presence in the story than I initially had thought. So I was actually kind of surprised about that. I don't want to get into too many spoilers because I do believe this movie was indeed worth watching. I know a lot of people have, that's the second thing. A lot of people have said to themselves, why should I go see this movie? What's the point of seeing this movie if this entire universe is going to be erased or kind of retcon, right? But I don't believe that for a second. You don't buy like the Golden Age comics just because they're out of, the universe is gone, has been changed up. You don't buy, people don't, people still read the old school pre-crisis comic books and post-crisis and the new 52 storylines, right? There's value in all of these sort of universes that are created. In time, things come and go, things change, and that's what makes some of these stories even more unique or more special, because of the fact that, well, they won't be around forever. Nothing lasts forever, right? That was actually a line in the movie. Things are always changing. I think the actors themselves, the returning actors, really care about the roles that they're playing, and I think they play it to a T. Something else also to keep in mind is, I believe Shazam 2, they stopped filming like 2-3 years ago or something like that. So, and because of the pandemic and because of a few other things, there's a lot of delays, that things don't line up exactly the same way anymore. And by that, I just kind of mean like, um, I think they were really banking on the idea of these movies to be a little closer to each other. So there's not really any explanation of what happened in the first movie at all. You just are kind of just thrown into this movie needing to understand basically why everybody has powers and how they're getting their powers and things like that, right? I only saw Shazam once, so there were little things I was like, okay, yeah, what happened to that guy again? Oh, okay, who's that person again? Right, okay, and then Mary, I don't even know. I think just Shazam, Miss Marvel, Mary Marvel. I guess that's her name. They're not even they don't even swap her out anymore when she goes from child to adult size. Now they just use the same person, just change up the makeup a little bit, and you wouldn't know any difference. It's like, it's not even a big thing anymore at this point. But they also kind of point at that in the terms of, she's become of age. She's an adult now, so they actually touch upon that. Freddie, I believe his name is, the wheelchair, the ones with the crutches. I think he gave the best performance. Honestly, I think he gave the best performance. The guy who plays Billy, I'm a little mixed on this situation here, because it's hard, because Billy Batson, I've always seen as like a kid, right? And like, he's always been portrayed as a small kid, right? So these kids, and even in the first movie, said kid was kind of older than the typical ideal Billy Batson. Like, I look at Billy Batson as being like 8 years old or 9 years old ish or something like that, right? Maybe borderline 7, maybe. But this kid was already in school, like, he's going through school and all that. And I know the new 52 aged him up even more, right? And I think that worked well for this version of the movie. It's just that, now this kid, I mean, he's pretty much a young man now. And it's hard to hide that. I mean, he's got that kind of Tom Holland build, everything. And, he definitely does not look like he's growing into Zachary Levi. So that's one little minor thing. I think, and so that's what's weird, because I feel like when Billy is on stage, when Billy is on camera, he's actually acting more mature than Zachary does playing Shazam, the adult version. So I thought that was a little bit of a split in terms of personality and such. I thought that was it was a bit weird, in that particular situation. But everybody else, I think, worked well. There was a little bit of wokeness in there, but I had a there's one particular part when a baseball game is on, and I think I heard DC Sun kind of groan like, okay, they gotta throw this in. Okay. But the reveal of said situation, I thought was hella funny. Like, I might even I might even use it as a stream clip or something like that because it was just so funny. Some of the delivery was a big issue with this movie. I feel like overall, most of the jokes, most of the pacing worked really well, but when it fell flat, oh my god, it hit rock bottom at times. There were just certain jokes where you were just cringing bad. Some of the actors, and I was mentioning this earlier, the returning actors, I think they all did a great job. The newer actors, the people joining the franchise, so to speak, it looked like they just wanted to get paid. It looked like they were just actors that needed to work, basically. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think even one of them actually admitted to the fact that I think the one that plays the magic girl or whatever, they ask her, why did you want to what made you want to be in join this world of DCEU? And she was like, I needed a job, son. And you can kind of see that with Lucy Liu as well. She's fine overall, but then there's just times where, it's just actors reading things off and just saying things, they're just, I wouldn't say dialing it in. I think that's going too far, but they're just like, okay, they're there. They're basically doing it. And you see this in a lot of Marvel movies all the time. Who's the Morbius guy? Lawrence Fishburne infamously does not remember ever being in a Marvel movie. He was literally just interviewed the other day and he was like, man, I would love to be part of that franchise. And people were like, dude, you are in the franchise. You played Goliath. He's like, oh, really? What? So, it's just actors that gotta work, and that's it. That's the deal. But so that was a little dry. But then some of the things. Now, one big thing, and this is kind of bringing it full circle, is a lot of the end credits. You get 3 end credits this time, which is pretty cool. That was actually pretty cool. And DC Sun and I were kind of talking about this after the movie. It feels with the end credits, and even with certain things that happen towards the end, it feels like the DC, the Warner Brothers, the old regime and the new, you're getting this weird fusion. I wouldn't say it's not as bad as the Justice League theatrical release, but you're getting different paths where somehow you could see they were building up to something else. But that's kind of getting like X-Men. I've never even seen the movie, the Phoenix story, I think. I've never even seen the movie, but from what I've heard from people, it's like, okay, they're building to different things, but Disney put an axe into it. It feels like they're going in different directions, and especially with the end credits, they're like, all right, well, we still want this vision just in case. Let's try to throw this in here. And unfortunately, it kind of annoys me because I think this is going to be the second time that Mark Strong is going to be a victim of an end credit that goes nowhere. Like our third time, actually, including Green Lantern here. Then there's another end credit as well where nothing fell through well at all. Like none of the jokes are funny, but that's personally because I just don't think I'm really into a particular theme from a particular show and director and things like that, and I just don't find any of them funny or interesting at all. So you'll know it when you see it. You'll be like, okay, yeah, that's what Akasan. That, yeah, I can see that Akasan. Oh man, yeah, Akasan did not like the show, so I can see where, yeah, it was just corny, dude, for the most part. And then I can't even remember what the first end credit was. Now that I think about it, I'm really trying to think about it too. But it's so it's so unmemorable at this point. But yeah. Oh my god, I can't even remember what it was. It wasn't something you needed to rush to. So that's what it is. So it was weird because it feels like a lot of these just kind of came out of the blue, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna throw all this in here just in case, depending upon where the future lies for the Shazam franchise. Let's kind of just keep it around or whatever. I will say, I was also very impressed with the fact that for a movie that only cost, for a movie that had a budget of $125 million, it looked much better than I was expecting. It definitely looked better than Ant-Man. Granted, I understand that Ant-Man and Quantumania, it's a whole nother universe, right? They had to build all that from scratch, blah, blah, blah. I understand that, but at least I feel like with the directing, a lot of the directing here, and a lot of the effects were practical shots. I believe they were very, very practical shots, and I was very impressed with the range of how many prosthetics, how many props, how many CG sort of ghouls and goblins and demons were utilized, but actually looked believable. There were no, to me at least, there were no traces of the green sort of edging that you'll see with a lot of green screen, blue screen sort of effects. There was no sort of indication about that. So I think David, the director, I think he did a great job. And everybody knows he knows his stuff. He knows his craft. One thing though, and I don't know if it's because of the fact that they needed to use a lot of CG elements or something like that in certain things, but it didn't really look that good on IMAX. On a technical level, I was actually quite surprised how blurry? Not blurry, but like dated. Like the film it has this kind of retro kind of perspective to it, like a little bit of that haze. If you guys know what I mean, from those old glass televisions or something like that. The way it was really weird, and maybe it's just because I'm so used to a lot of the Disney films, particularly from Marvel, being sort of set up and developed for IMAX. I'm used to that very sharpness, especially IMAX laser, where it's supposed to kind of look like a blown up Blu-ray sort of, if that makes sense, or 4K DVD, a 4K Blu-ray or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's very impressive. Guardians of the Galaxy is going to look impressive, but for whatever reason, I was like, is the projector malfunctioning or something like that? It didn't really look like it was shot on IMAX camera, which is fine, but it was just a little displacing. I guess that's the best way I can explain it, was the fact that from the opening scene to the end, it just kind of looked like it was the wrong aspect ratio or something like that. When you sometimes stretch your full screen or your window to full screen, and you can tell that it's not compensating right. That's so I'd be very, very curious to see, to rewatch this again if they ever have it in 4K streaming or something like that. Maybe on HBO Max you can. Over here we probably won't get it that way, but I'd be very curious. The Batman looked fine. The Batman looked clear, crisp. Matt Reeves, I think, did a great job. So it's not a company thing. I think it's just the way that the director chose to shoot his movie, which was a little surprising to me, because I'm a big fan of Pony Smasher's YouTube channel, and I watch his film stuff a lot. So I'd be very curious to see what his sort of what his thought process going into this. And I would like to know from you guys watching it on IMAX, if you watched it on IMAX without 3D, none of that, just watched it on IMAX, was it very clear, or did it have this kind of like retro haze to it as well? I'm just very curious if that was more of a international thing, because sometimes that can be the problem. Watching Euphoria recently on this service called Unex, they get a lot of the WB movies, but when you watch it in English, it destroys the entire refresh rate or something, and I'm sick of it. I'm about to actually just pay for Euphoria through Amazon Prime, just like I did DC Super Pets, because I know at least I'm getting a better bit rate going through. Unix is destroying Warner Brothers, the quality of the shows. It makes Euphoria look like it was made in the 90s or 80s, late 80s or something like that. How like hazy and not sharp it is. So I don't know, or maybe that's the way Euphoria is supposed to look, but I doubt it, dude. Atlanta doesn't look like that at all, but Atlanta is also on Netflix. So anyway, sorry, I digress here. Miss Mary's sexy as hell, dude. God damn, she looks so good. That was definitely the hottest, the most bada boom bada bing part of the movie. Practical effects, loved it. I really liked a lot of that, and that's pretty much it. There's a few spoilers that we can probably have a spoiler discussion on Twitch a little later or so, but it's not anything like so deep. It's just, they did the thing. I was entertained. It's probably the most entertaining movie of this genre that I've seen this year, for sure. I liked it more than I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp. I had a lot more laughs, and I was thoroughly entertained throughout the movie. I'm not going to take it too seriously because it's a Shazam movie. I'm not dealing with this right now, Yeah, I think I definitely... So far, of the CBMs, it's definitely the best CBM I've seen this year. And I think last year was Wakanda Forever, so I guess we're not counting. Whatever with that one too. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay. It's gonna be James Gunn all the way around here now. Now we got Guardians of the Galaxy next, and of course, to see where everything is going now with the DCEU, the next big DC movie is going to be right? I hope so. The Flash, right? The Flash. Let's hope so. All right. Till next time, guys. I'll talk to you on the next one. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie, and I'll see you then. Until then, I'm out. Shazam!